the owner of YP Jerseys. Welcome to the Underground Society podcast.
My name is Jeff.
I had to wear the YP jersey for the interview today.
I had been sitting on that design for over 3 years.
Holy shit. You've done Shanghai Doom. I have a list of people here. Grizz, Conrank, you did Grizztronics.
That was such a stressful project to do.
But you're like, it's for Grizztronics.
And then she was like, ooh, what's that? I was like, she's like, what'd you think of it? I was like, and then I woke up Sunday morning and my phone notifications were going off. People are just like, when are you going to go public? The adult leagues, they got some pretty fly jerseys. I need to shout out every one of those people real quick. Shout out to Boogie T. Shout out G-Rex, Loper. Shout out Lucid. Shout out to the Absolute Goat. I love those fools. Shout out to, I'm not sure, but they absolutely crushed it. Shout out Easy Bake, Smokeland. Shout out the Chain Smokers. I'm not here where I am today without you. Jeez, that was exhausting.
Micah, the owner of YP Jerseys. Welcome to the Underground Society podcast. How are we doing today, man?
I'm good, Justin. I appreciate you having me, and this has been a long time coming, to say the least, so I'm glad we were able to find the time. Absolutely fresh jersey. Absolutely fresh jersey.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I had to wear the YP jersey for the interview today. I never wear merch for interviews, so I was like, I got to make an exception for today.
I'm honored. I'm honored. And shout out to Paige, the creator, for doing that design. That's the first.
Yeah, this is sick.
It's a Squan. Yeah, the first Squan release, and we're very, very, very honored to be a part of that. Shout out Loper. Shout out Chloe, Bree, Kendall, everyone at the Wakan team.
Hell yeah.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, I bought this. I think I went to his San Diego show, and I back when they first released, when they were selling them at shows, last year or something like that. And I was like, man, those are sick. And then I didn't even know what company it was. I kind of found out who you were, and I was like, oh, no way. That YP actually made this. This is sick. So, and it's great quality. So you guys do a phenomenal job. I
appreciate that.
Kind of to get this interview started, I want to just get to know you a little bit, and kind of like how you got started with, this whole business concept of designing and creating jerseys for some of the top level artists that you have.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm originally from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I moved to Georgia when I was about 5 years old. Pretty much been here since then. I'm about 2 hours south of Atlanta in Augusta, Georgia. How I got into...
Yeah, how did you get introduced to EDM?
Yeah, RL Grime. Okay. I stumbled upon the track Because of You, and that was pretty much what really sent me into that whole music scene. Shout out to the Absolute Goat. That is one of the artists that I'll definitely travel to, no matter where he plays.
Yeah, he's one of the top artists now. Everything he's done with like Sable Valley and stuff has been really cool the last couple of years to see too.
It's so nice to see what he's doing with Sable Valley as well. Like, just the opportunity to take your platform and to help others, have their tunes discovered. It's a very good thing. He's got a good heart for
Definitely.
Sure. So that was the artist that introduced me into the genre. I will say one of my old coworkers, Bobby, she asked me one time if I wanted to go to a show, and I was like, all right, I don't really know what this is all about, but we'll go for it. So the first show I went to was at my favorite venue in all of Atlanta. It's called the Tabernacle. It is massive.
I think I've heard of that.
3 stories. Of the Trees had just played there. He had made a post recently on Instagram, and that was an amazing show as well. But that was the show we saw. Was just to take you back on this. Zed.
Holy shit.
For the Clarity tour.
Damn, that's a minute ago. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was definitely a minute ago. At least 10 years now that I think of it.
Damn.
So yeah, just seeing everyone at that show, how much everyone would. There weren't any people frowning. It was like very high energy, for whatever reasons. But overall, it was a great time, and we drove right back afterwards. And when she dropped me off at my car at where we work, she's like, what'd you think of it? I was like, when's the next one? Like,
Yeah,
when
I want
is
to
the
go
next
again.
show? And then she was like, on the way back home, she's telling me about festivals, and I was like, ooh, what's that? And I'd been to my first ever festival was probably 2 years prior to that Zed show, and it was Jazz Fest in
Mm.
New Orleans. The first headliner I saw were the Beach Boys, and John Stamos introduced them. So that was an experience to say the least. A lot of vodka was drank, but I think the second night was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Oh,
That was
sick.
a really good set. And then on the last day, it was CeeLo Green, and that was right whenever Crazy had just come out.
Oh, wow. So he's
So
huge. That was like top of his career.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then the first festival that I guess you could say that I experienced some EDM was Hangout in
Okay. Yeah.
2013 down in Gulf Shores,
Hmm.
which shout out to, I'm not sure who's doing their lineup, but they absolutely crushed it this year. Um, but yeah, I saw the Chainsmokers right whenever Let Me Take a Selfie had just come out.
Oh,
So that
shit.
was their big
Yeah.
thing. I got to see Bauer perform the Harlem Shake. That was when that just
Oh,
came out. I saw some really good stuff
that was a
that weekend.
big kind of time for all that music.
It's crazy to think, where all those artists are now, and to see
Hmm.
the legacies they've just left just kind of across the board with people, to see who they're working with now. It's very it's very crazy to look back on it. But the first big festival I went to was Tomorrow World.
Oh, sick.
uh and whenever they did that 3-year run in Atlanta, and I went every year. And I was like, that first year there was so many people. And I was like, if this is what every EDM festival is like, I'm going to as many of these as humanly
Hmm.
possible. I've brought my best friends into this scene, and they love it now, which is awesome because I get to enjoy that with them. Um, yeah, it's definitely a wild ride. And I guess trying to loop this all back, is that I noticed there was a lot of merchandise out there, but it was really generic.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I think and I'm not trash talking any artist by any means when I say this, but I feel like if you don't put out good merchandise for your fans, it's kind of like a discredit to their fanship towards you. I'm not saying you
Yeah.
have to constantly put up stuff, left and right, but whatever you do put out, it should
High
be,
quality.
you know, yeah,
Yeah.
it should be quality. It should look cool. It shouldn't just be black and white and bland.
Hmm.
Just
Well, and
I've seen too many people just slap a logo, and it's like, that's it.
we've seen, at least, I'm sure you've seen too, and a lot of other people listening right now, I'm sure have also seen. But just like how much people are actually willing to pay too. So it's like a lot of people try and use that excuse of like, oh, I don't know if my fans are gonna want to pay that much, and it's like, dude, people are paying like we'll pay good money if it's high quality, and it's proven over and
Hmm.
over and over again. You go to all the you go to Lost Lands or something like that, like you see everyone with jerseys, high end quality merch, like. Or even like the athletic clothing like Subtronics does now, or I don't know if you know
Hmm.
Rage Nation, their stuff. I love their stuff too.
Yep.
Um, all those companies, like people are willing to pay the money for it. So yeah, I just think
Yeah,
it's
you
funny
just got
when
to put it out
yeah,
there.
and I think it's funny when people use the excuse of like, oh, I don't know if my fans will pay that much. Like clearly they will.
They definitely
Yeah.
will. They definitely will. It's and that's the thing. I don't think anyone is also, at least to my current knowledge, I don't think anyone is putting out any stuff that is like overly priced. It
No.
seems like for the most
Yeah.
part, everything matches up to what the garment should be.
Hmm.
You know,
So how did you get
it's not.
into like learning about like creating? Obviously, I'm sure there was a lot of research of trying to find manufacturers and stuff like that. What was that process like for you?
Geez, that was exhausting. 4 years of running through different samples, all these manufacturers that are out there. Because I mean, if you look for it, you can find them. It's just
Hmm.
you got to be extremely patient. So as far as I'm an idea person, I don't have the most hands-on creativity when it comes to like actually designing like graphic design and all that
Right.
stuff. It was kind of a foreign language. I knew of it, but I didn't know what you can do in Photoshop and
Hmm.
AI and Procreate and all those things. So the first thing was finding a manufacturer because what how I got people noticing me was that I was getting blanks from overseas. I have a website that I can find if I put in, you know, Boston Celtics jersey,
Hmm.
that it will pop up with every jersey they have and all the exact letters and everything. So you can match it to a T.
Okay.
So I'd reach out to artists and say, hey, what's your favorite number? What size do you wear? Do you have like a hometown? What's your hometown or what's your favorite team? You know, something that's like close to their heart
Right. Right.
because the original the original concept for YP jerseys was just to gift jerseys to artists because they are able to create memories
Yeah.
that we'll hold on to for our entire
So
lives.
just like
Like I'm sure
as a thank you, basically.
that's all it
Yeah.
was, man. Literally a token of appreciation.
That's sick.
And shout out to Boogie T, Brock Lobster himself, for being like the one person to. He was the first person to ever give me a shout out for that same. Actually, it was the following EDC Orlando, the one after I met my business partner John.
Hmm.
He was doing a back to back with Squanto,
Ah,
and
Toronto's finally
I
coming
had
back. I'm excited.
finally. I did hear about that. I was able to find someone who can get me the blanks, and we were able to get all their numbers and everything on there, the name and number. And I hadn't heard from him. Obviously, you know, artists are busy people.
Mhm.
They're humans just like us. They don't have to interact,
Right.
you know, against their will. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to post a picture of this and put it on his Facebook group, and I'm sure he'll see it.
Hmm.
And sure enough, he saw it. And I linked up with his dad. Shout out Trivy Thornton, the absolute goat of all rave dads. I linked up with him at the hotel they were staying at, handed him off the jerseys. And I remember like just wondering to myself, I was like, are they going to wear them on stage? Because if they do, I'm probably going to cry in front
Yeah.
of all my friends, and it's just going to be, you know, something super special. I didn't ask, you know, anything. I was just like, hey, this is just one thing I told Tribby. I was like, just let your son know that this is just an appreciation for all the music that he makes and the memories that he creates for all these fans out
Hmm.
here. You know, so you might meet your best friend, you might meet the love of your life. You'll never know. Fast forward, the sun is starting to go down. Sets have been played, all this stuff,
Hmm.
and I think it was Midnight Tea that was playing, and all I hear him say over the microphone, he's like, "Oh, we got a wild Brock lobster," and I immediately my eyes just went straight to the stage,
Yeah.
and I could see them wearing the jerseys, and I just looked back at everyone. I was like, this is really
This is my
happening.
life.
I can't believe, like, you know, I know you've had those times in your life
Oh
where,
yeah.
you know, you'll be able to accomplish something and then you just have that overwhelming feeling like I used to think this was impossible,
Hmm.
that no one else could possibly make this happen, and then you just keep on working when you're grinding, when no one's looking, and you know you just stay on your own course. To see that happen was super awesome. I was so far away that I like tried to take a picture of this screen when they were playing, but the picture turned out awful. I was just like, I won't even
It's all
worry
right.
about it. Like
Yeah.
this, the memory I have is like
Good enough.
where I am
Yeah.
right now with my friends, and everyone's just like, yo, you did that. Let's go. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then So that was like, I think, because that was the first time that it was like the 3-day
Mhm.
event. So that happened on Saturday. And then I woke up Sunday morning and my phone notifications were going off. I was like, what
That's
is
dope.
going on here? And he tagged me in his post, uh, gave me a proper shout out, which I'm forever grateful for. And
Mhm.
people were just like, where can I get a jersey? When can I do this? You know, blah, 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 blah. People are just like, when are you going to go public? So I was
So
like,
then it turned in from
I've,
just the idea of this being a gift for the artist into, okay, maybe we can actually make a business out of this and actually manufacture jerseys and badges for
exactly,
people, right? That's dope.
exactly. The key was trying to find, you know, legitimate sources and create our own stuff because we can't go around selling licensed products, you
Mhm.
know, for all these different sports just because we switched the name on the back. Like
Yeah.
we had to find a different way, and so that we can make it original ourselves. Um, so then it was like, all right, that's when the hunt began for trying to find a production team. So we finally found one, and then I was like, well, I don't know how to design, but I've got really good ideas.
Right. So
So then,
since you are the idea guy, how does the like step by step, what is like, obviously you found the manufacturer. Did you go to
uh,
like Alibaba or something like that to find the guy, or is he overseas, or is he, are
so
they
for
local
that,
or?
so for the first person I originally went with was through a mutual friend that I had that was in softball leagues.
Mm,
And softball players, like, you know, the adult leagues, they got some pretty fly
yeah,
jerseys.
yeah.
And I was like, yo, wait a minute. Do you have somebody designing your stuff and you're able to send it somewhere else? Like, I need that contact.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me a contact for this one person. I think they're based out of Alabama or something like that, but they were still getting them from overseas. And I had to stop using them because they didn't want to remove their logo from it. I was like, well,
Yeah.
this isn't, I was like, I'll pay for it.
Right.
Like, no diss to you and your brand that you have created,
Mm-hmm.
but like, this isn't any of your artwork,
Yeah, yeah.
like, whatsoever. So we only used them for one project super early on. But yeah, I was having a conversation with two of my buddies that were at a show in Savannah. And I was like, yeah, I've got to figure out how I can design jerseys. And my buddy's like, dude, my girlfriend she is a designer. Like, ask her. So I asked her. Shout out Kiera Page, the absolute legend of legends. Without you, I'm not here where I am today without you. And I want you to always remember that. We went over and just brainstormed some stuff. Um, the first design we did was actually produced with a different company. We ended up selling the design. It was for Lucid.
Got it.
Shout out Lucid. We got a show with him next week. Him and Super Future and Lotus Tape. It's gonna be fun
Oh, that'll be
to
fire.
see
Yeah.
those. Yeah, this it's gonna be fun to run into all of them. But yeah, we went from there, and I was like, okay, well, we have our first design, like custom design done.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just, you know, just trying to build that credibility amongst the industry because, you know, I'm not saying there's some mean people out there, not artists really, but, you know, there's some managers who are not the nicest
Yeah.
people, and you kind of got to learn how to approach it in a business sense instead of a, hey, I'm a fan, can we run some jerseys? Like,
Right.
you know, getting that as figuring out what to say, what not to say, who to talk to, who to not talk to. I learned that definitely within the first couple of years of, all right, I got to figure this out. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I figured it out, I was like, okay, now I got a template of how I can approach people. And from there, so Lucid was technically the first design we ever did. And the second one was for G Rex. Shout out G Rex, Jake Sweeney, the absolute homie. Um, I was talking to him at the very first Wakan Fest. Um, and I have such a good relationship with him, that we can just kind of just, shoot the stuff about kind of anything and everything. And I was like, listen, it would be an honor if you let us do some kind of merch for you. It doesn't have to be a jersey. It's just anything at all. We just wanna help your brand out too.
That's cool.
So he let us do a hoodie, which turned out so good.
There was a red and black one. It was like this material, but with the hood on it, right?
Okay, so it was a black hoodie. That was produced by Kill the Eight.
Yeah, yeah.
But it had like this crazy dark. It had G-Rex on the front, and then it had this absolutely crazy, like demonic looking horse on the back.
That's right. Yeah, I remember those.
And then he was like, "All right, well let's try jerseys out," and we had those. They sold out within. I'm pretty sure that sold out in less than 24 hours, maybe 23 to be exact.
Dang.
So that was really dope to see. Then we had the pleasure of working with Easy Bake. Shout out Eric and Andrew. I love those dudes for life. They let us do their first 2 projects, and now they're like some of the most sought after pieces in the jersey game.
Them, and then you've done Shanghai Doom. I have a list of people here. Grizz, Conrank. You did Grizztronics. I don't know if you did a run of those or you just did those for them, but
that was okay. Yeah, that was that picture you talk about with Grizz and Subtronics wearing it. That picture, my jaw hit the floor. That was such a stressful project to do because at any of those times, I literally, did them as gifts, but I was just under such time constraints because sometimes the blank jersey would show up and I'm still waiting for the letters and the numbers to come in. Then I got to get those sewed, like all that stuff. And I remember dropping off those jerseys and paying a ridiculous amount for them to get shipped overnight. They showed up 3 days before the New Year's Eve event. That was going to be the first ever Grizztronics back to back.
Oh,
and
you're like, I don't care how much it is. Here you go. Probably a tough pill to swallow still, but you're like, it's for Grizztronics. And the first set, you're like, fuck it.
That was like, this is going to be how this happens. Like, I know if I get it to them, something amazing is going to happen. And sure enough, I remember seeing Jesse's story, and I remember just seeing just like, I think it was maybe it was a photo or a selfie that he was doing with somebody, and I can see the colors of the jersey like on him. I was like,
no way.
Snap. He's already wearing this. And then whenever I see the photo go viral online of them wearing the Grizztronics jerseys, I was like, I guess this is going to be a good year.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be how I ring in the new year. And from there, we were just full steam ahead. That was, what was that? 20. That was I think that was actually heading into 2020. And, unfortunately, we couldn't do shows because of the pandemic. Everyone wanted to stay safe, listen to all the protocols that were going on. And, these DJs obviously weren't making any money, and they needed some form of revenue besides going back to their old jobs or whatever they were doing before. Yeah. So
merch is
I
a good
remember, yeah, exactly. Especially when you have a lot of fans.
Yeah.
So we ran pre-orders constantly because, the one thing that I stress to every single client that I work with is like, I don't want you all to be worried about anything whatsoever. You don't need to worry about, hey, are we going to have extras? How much do we need to put up front? All this stuff. It's like, as long as you tell them how long it's going to take, even if you have to remind them umpteen million times, then they're going to still show support, because when it shows up in their mail day or in their mailbox, mail day is going to be so much sweeter.
Yeah.
So we did that for Easy Baked, Conrank, Smokeland. Shout out to the boys. I love those fools. I'm actually wearing my favorite of theirs, which was a
Hey.
Smokeland V2 soccer jersey. Um, yeah, man, we were just running through it. DMVU, G Space,
Hmm.
Recno.
Yeah,
Shout out to the icon
you guys really
Recno.
tapped into that like Wakan market, which is cool, which is probably from Lucid early on. I've heard Lucid is one of those guys that really stands for giving people an opportunity and trying out new art, trying out new things for his brand, and he's just really,
Yes.
really about all that. So that's cool that it was kind of cool that you were able to like. I'm sure it wasn't unplanned, but kind of just the way it happened. But it was cool that you kind of got in with him,
Mhm.
and then it kind of like exploded. Now you're doing Sasquan and Stuffer Loper and Liquid Stranger and like the big boys.
Yeah, it was. I think that the other jersey that came out with the one that you're wearing was
The blue one?
the black with the
Yep.
hood. I had been sitting on that design for over 3 years
Holy shit.
before the light of day. There's actually a different version of it. I don't think I have it laying around, but there's a different version of what it was originally,
Hmm.
and then we made some edits and all that stuff. Um, but that's still, I think, the coolest project to see walking around. Now, I guarantee I love seeing all my projects. There's some that are closer to my heart,
Yeah.
but the one that, like that one, Liquid, I mean, that's the goat right there.
Yeah.
Like he is he's a very loving person to this community, and I definitely hope to work with them again because I'd say what we put out was pretty
That
good.
was sick, dude. Like I said, I didn't even know it was you guys, and I was like, "Oh, that's a dope jersey." And then later, kind of knew the same people and kind of running almost similar circles, even though we're on both sides of the United
Hmm.
States. But we know a lot of the same people. And once I figured out this was made by you guys, I was like, "Oh shit!" It definitely made me pay attention even more to what you guys are doing. So I know you
I
guys. I know
appreciate
you're
that.
running out of time, but I do have a couple last questions for you.
Sure.
One is just what have been some of your struggles like as far as like growing your team? Because I know it's not just you and you have designers and stuff. Between growing your
Right.
team, growing your brand, getting in touch with all these different artists, what would you say the biggest struggle for you was?
The biggest struggle at the beginning was obviously getting any kind of attention whatsoever, and then the second struggle was like an internal one I had because this company is like it's like my baby.
Mm.
It's like everything that I have, everything that I've worked for, and like being open to not so much designers. I'll bring any designer. If you're if you want to design merchandise, hit me up.
Yeah,
Like this is for real. You're anyone. It doesn't matter how big, how small your
I was
portfolio
gonna
is.
ask you that if you work with smaller
DM
guys.
me anytime,
Sick.
and we'll take it. We'll take a gander. But it was for like having a street team, which is something that I've been slowly working on.
Hmm.
You know, I- it's just a lot to kind of have someone else have your brand, you know, on their profile pages or anything like that because yeah, everybody's got free will and all that stuff, but like
Right.
remember who you're representing. And the last thing I want to see is someone this goes for anyone, by the way. If anyone is wearing any of the jerseys we've made and they just act like a rude and mean and inconsiderable person, like I don't want any of those people
Yeah.
wearing my
Yeah.
stuff. And nor would the artist. So it was just kind of being open to, vetting for people, looking at their
Hmm.
profile. We're expanding more now than ever now that we have access to festival booths,
Oh,
which I
good.
am super pumped
That'll be
about.
tight.
Yeah, I'd say it's just, the trust factor
Yeah.
and then just not taking no for an answer.
Hmm. Yeah, he's got to keep
Unless
trucking.
they're like, well, we're already committed to somebody else. They're like, so yeah, heads up for any artist that has KTA as their main producer. You probably won't see us designing anything for them because they have contracts with them.
Yeah.
It's nothing but love. I've made jerseys personally for all their artists, just as a gift of appreciation.
Right.
So
Um,
yeah,
Next question, to kind of wrap this up, is what does YP mean and what does it kind of stand for, in your opinion?
sure. So it stands for Young Professional
Okay.
Jerseys.
That makes
How do
sense
I?
with the
All
logo then
right.
with the top hat. I was like, what is that? How does that tie in?
Yeah. Okay. So the inspiration for the design, the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, the
Yeah,
original
yeah.
one, not the Johnny Depp one that I refuse to watch. The original one is my
The
favorite
original
movie
one
of all
hits
time.
way harder than Johnny Depp one is kind of weird. I'm a
Yeah,
much bigger
Gene
fan. Gene Wilder,
Wilder,
bro, all day.
the goat, the
Yeah.
absolute goat. And even now, with something that people don't even recognize, and I know they don't recognize because I barely see any of them cash in, but with every jersey release I do, at least there is a package with a gold ticket for a free jersey.
That's sick. That's a hella cool idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So people started copping it the first couple releases, but I haven't seen them since then. So I guess I'm just gonna have to make like big old cutouts. And
Yeah.
like this is how you need to move forward with this.
Right.
But um I remember being in Atlanta one time and I was hanging out with one of my best friends. Shout out Josh Alamdari. We were just kind of riding through the city. It was like on the outside perimeter because Atlanta is just generically huge, but we were on like kind of a nicer side of town. But one thing I noticed was like everyone was still our age, but they were like dressed super
Hmm.
nice. Um, and I remember looking at him and I was like, man, there's nothing but a bunch of young professionals around here. And then I was like, wait a
Like,
minute,
whoa.
I need to hold on to that. And that's we try to be professional about the work we do. There have been times where I've had customers lose packages
Mm,
and I will get them back either with a refund, the original product they ordered, toss something in extra for
right.
them. It's
Customer
all
service,
about
man. People
it is
and
the root of it
yeah, and a
is
lot of
all there.
I've noticed a lot of companies. I mean, the top level companies just because they have to, but a lot of the smaller companies, like someone your size or even a little bigger than you guys, even though you guys are doing great, but
Mhm.
they don't focus as much as they should on customer service. So I appreciate you for taking that extra step for doing so for your customer base.
For sure.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to listen to the people that are paying to an extent.
yeah,
There's some people that are going to be like, oh well, I'll like display a design, and they're like, oh, I think this should go over here. I'm like, I appreciate the input,
yeah,
but this is what I've agreed with the artists
yeah.
themselves, and thank you either way for commenting, liking. One thing I'll say to just pretty much anyone that's watching this, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for liking any of our posts, sharing it, commenting it, either directly messaging me or one of my team members, which I need to shout out every one of those people real quick. Kiera Page, Jennifer, aka the Dublian herself. Go check her stuff out. Especially go check her stuff out. Paige, the creator, Dulcie, my assistant, the queen, JC LaForce, Matt, Jason Barnacle. That kid is already designing some crazy stuff. If you don't know about Pipe Dreamers, you need to brush up on that
I'm gonna
because
go look
that's
into all
going to
these
be the
people too.
next wave. Yeah. Um, Nick from East Coast Finest, Cody, Alyssa Baker, who's the newest designer. She crushed some really, really cool Oki designs that we're releasing the inventory for. But without any of those people, man, I really wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I give my designers all the credit in the world, and I've always told them if my platform can help you elevate your artist profile, designing profile, whatever,
Hmm.
that means more than any big deal that I could ever get.
That's awesome, man. It seems like you have a great heart, and I know we got to wrap up here, and I wish we had more time to talk. Maybe I'll have you back on to talk a little bit
I'll,
more in depth. But
we'll definitely come back
um,
for round two.
yeah, but before we wrap up, because I do want to wrap up here for you. Do you have any questions for
Sure.
me?
This is something that I'm actually going to a segment that I'd like to do on my podcast, which is coming soon, which I will definitely have you on.
Hell yeah.
Is called the Manifestation Minute. The Manifestation Minute. say 3 people you would like to interview at some point in your life, and at least one thing you want to do later on in life.
Ooh, 3 people I want to interview. I got to start with Subtronics. He's a huge inspiration for me, and I just love who he is as a
Sweet.
person and everything he's done in business and his artist career. I look up to. So him for one. 2, Excision would be Dub, just because he's the father of dubstep.
Right. My name is Jeff.
Yeah, my name is Jeff. And then who else? Man. I would love to interview Mo Shalizi, who is the manager. He has his own management company. He's Marshmallow's manager and Alesso and all those top guys. Just because career-wise, I'm going to be going into management, and I like having managers on, and I've looked up to him since the very first day that I even had the idea of becoming a manager. So that'd be probably my 3rd.
Hell yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What was the other question? You asked me one more thing.
What is one thing that you want to be able to do in your lifetime that you haven't already done?
Ooh, jump out of a plane, actually. I want to go skydiving. I've never done it.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I would like to do that as well. I've jumped off of the Circus Casino in Vegas for bungee jumping, but
yeah.
It's all right, I guess. Yeah. It's still kind of crazy, but I was like 13, I probably couldn't do that now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to do bungee jumping. I don't know if I'd trust the bungee. I'd trust a parachute before I trust a bungee cord.
Oh, it was sketch. Don't worry. It was sketch. It was sketch. It was very sketch. I don't, as far as 3 people I'd want to work with, if they ever got around to doing merchandise, Troy Boy, RL for sure, and oh man, that's a tough one to think of a 3rd one. Because there's some people that I've already done projects.
Right.
I mean, I'd like to do an official thing with Subtronics. If anything, I'll just sell them a design if it works itself out like that. But my next venture in life is becoming a VJ.
Oh, sick! Hell yeah! I'm learning that as well. My roommate, he's a producer and obviously a DJ himself, and I've learned just in the last few months. It's something that I've been learning too. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about that. But yeah, man, I greatly appreciate you having me on. We're definitely going to do a round 2 of this. I'll bring you on to my show whenever I start that up.
Yes, please. Where can the listeners get in touch with you?
At YP Jerseys on Instagram, the Facebook page. We have a private group, the YP Jersey Fan. That's where you can find all exclusive drops. Right. There's some stuff we never put on our website. It's just like super small stuff, 25 unit orders, 50 stuff. Twitter, I hate Twitter, so don't even try to message me there because I've got, I'm sure, over 1,000 notifications. So yeah, Instagram, Facebook. It's where you can find us, and we're always willing to take on new designers.
Awesome. Last final question, I ask this at the end of every interview. If you could give yourself one piece of advice when you first started making jerseys under the YP brand, what would that be?
I would just say, just never give up and never stop working, because the work that you put in there is going to be the equivalent of the results.
You might not see it immediately, but eventually it'll happen.
And timing is everything. Yeah. It might not be your time, but it'll work itself out.
Absolutely.
It'll work itself out. And we'll dive into that the next time we link up.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, man. It was great talking to you.
My pleasure, man.
All right, that about wraps up this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, please drop us a like and subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date on all of our new episodes. If you want to find out more information on our guests, you can find all of their information down in the description. Have a fantastic week.